My name's Ethan Colby. I graduated from LPO in 2008. I started there in 2003 in the seventh grade with Georgie and moved through seventh and eighth grade. I felt pretty bad about schooling actually because I didn't grasp concepts, which some things later in life now click and make sense why that was. I was struggling. I couldn't comprehend reading, didn't really get math. I could do it. I didn't comprehend why. And then Georgie helped me and it finally clicked. And then I graduated early. Obviously, the building, right? Like you go to that building, it's old, it's got character. You move around to get to your classes. You can see everyone's classes. I love that building. There's a lot of good memories there. There's a lot of memories of craziness there too, right? Because like most kids that go there, we come from backgrounds that are not great. We can have a stubborn streak, you know? I remember standing up to kids and almost getting into fights like most, but thankfully we worked it out. Most notably though is like I got to go to school with my brothers and I got to see them. So I got my brother Josh, my brother Devin. They went to the school before I did. Devin graduated way before I did. Yeah, I mean that was fun. Even though we always didn't get along, and there was sometimes problems if we ended up in the same room and we weren't fighting. But I mean, just seeing those guys too. Like my older brother, he was super shy and had some other stuff, and I mean he didn't even talk until he came to the school, and then he was able to open up and come out of his shell. My middle brother Josh, he was stubborn. Now that we're older, we've kind of moved all past that, which is great. Just being able to go to school with them and have them there was huge. Being able to see them throughout the day and not be segregated and not see them at all, even in middle school, was awesome. Obviously, I graduated and moved on and was fortunate enough to get into the fire service. I started volunteering. It was kind of one of those hacks that I always wanted to do, see. Always wanted to be a firefighter when I was a kid. In 2008, I think it was November of 2008, I started volunteering, and then I kind of dove into that feet first and was lucky enough to get all of the training. Got hired in 2010. I tested and got hired. And then throughout the years, I've promoted up through the ranks, and now I'm a captain. I'm a captain on Blue Shift, and I run the station out in Sagal. I have two coworkers. They're fantastic. Some of the things that stick with me though is like having the teachers at LPO kind of stuck with me throughout my working career and my adult life is like having you guys sit there and turn something in, and especially if I like half-assed it, because what teenage kid doesn't, right? Like, oh, I'll just get this done and just shove this off. You guys would turn it back in and be like, do it again. Nope. And you'd call us on it. And I remember getting so frustrated. And then it finally clicked of like, oh, no, these guys know what I can do. And so I probably should just stick to doing what I can do and showing them. That was huge because when I was at the middle school, before I came to LPO, when I was really struggling and stuff like that was not good. Like I didn't comprehend. I was just getting shoved along. I didn't want to get held back. I was dealing with some bullying stuff that was holdover from elementary school. It finally got everything to cement and click. And you guys had the time because we were small, right? Like we weren't 40 kids in a class. We were 10, 15. And so it's like if I asked a question, I could get a true answer. I could get it to click. Some of the hindsight stuff that always comes back that I wish I would have caught when I was going to LPO is I actually got a ADHD diagnosis later in life, which made a lot of sense of why things wouldn't click. But you know, thankfully the school the way it was worked with that and helped foster that like hyper focus of trying to get it to move forward. And once it finally clicked, I was all about it. I graduated with a 3.86 GPA from there, which was kind of unheard of because when I started there, I was failing every class in the middle school. Yeah. So connecting back to my time at LPO into adulthood is just honestly like realizing that everyone comes from different places, right? There was all sorts of kids there for every reason under the sun, even kids that looked well put together. And it's like sometimes you'd look at them and not realize what was going on. And so not judging a book by its cover, giving people grace and just understanding people, right? Like that's a huge thing in my adult life that's made me successful is like understanding people. And that all came from being there. And so much so that like 20 years later, just about, I'm sitting here talking to you guys about how much I love that school. I've stopped in a couple times throughout the years, every time to walk in and see Belinda when she was there at the front desk and have teachers recognize me and recognize some of the teachers that were there. I don't think many people from the high school can get that. I I would say the biggest thing is mixing the school with the high school is not going to end well. It's going to put kids like myself back into the environment that they didn't want to be at, right? Like where you're dealing with the bullies, you're dealing with the problems that came with that style of learning because they're out in a portable. So they got to go into the building for restrooms. They got to go into the building for lunch. They're going to be mixing. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to put people in trailers in the back spot without keeping it at the building that it's at, especially knowing that they're going to keep the building? It's more than a building where it's at, but the building really does help make the school. There's so much there that goes with that. And some of that is the separation, unfortunately. I mean, that needs to happen because some of the kids have been moved to LPO from the high school for a reason, right? Give them that space to reset and relearn. Don't move the school.